Roses in my garden. The very first rose I planted in my garden is this yellow farm rose. It's not a Harrison's yellow rose, as the hips never turn red. The flower form is angular instead of round, and it's a deeper yellow in color. They are surely related, but not quite the same. I acquired a piece of it in 1975 from May Bassett's homestead along Highway 344 and planted it in front of our house. Ricky and I call this pretty pink rose Grachel's rose because his mother moved it from the old homestead to Portales in 1954. Ricky brought it back to the homestead in 1972, where it is now in front of our home. It's not nearly as aggressive as the yellow rose, and I pruned the yellow to accommodate it. It's the most fragrant rose we have. Morden roses were bred in Canada and are very cold hardy. Morden Sunrise is a 2-foot shrub rose, perfect for living in containers summer and winter. I plant them in a 10-gallon plastic pot and sink the plastic pot inside a wooden wine barrel. This leaves a 3-inch space around the plastic pot for wood chips or pecan mulch to help insulate the pot. Roses in containers need wind protection and watering once a month during winter. Rosa woodsii is a New Mexico native rose found in the East Mountains. It's a tiny thing in the forest, but with water it gets to any height you want it to be. Mine gets very tall. It smells like rose soap and has a lovely pink flower. Honeybees love this rose, and many wild bees nest near it. The rose hips are tiny and red, and the fall color of this rose is unsurpassed. The Above and Beyond climbing rose was developed for cold climates. I don't protect it during winter and have never lost a cane to cold. Mine are now in their 5th year. In contrast, its blooms are delicate and feminine and achingly beautiful. Above and Beyond is a rose for the East Mountains. Can you imagine what this climber would do in Albuquerque? The Herbalist rose is a David Austin rose of long ago. Everyone in the family helped plant this rose more than 20 years ago in the formal garden. It's wonderfully fragrant, like all David Austins. It surrounds the Above and Beyond foursquare in a semicircle, growing underneath the dappled shade of purple robe locust trees. They are the only roses in my garden that are grafted. All the others are grown on their own root. Grafted roses tend to lose canes in the winter on this side of the mountain. I use wilt-proof and anti-desiccant on the canes, spraying once in fall and then again in early spring. I found the Robusta rose at the Wyoming branch of the Albuquerque Library in their beautiful rose garden. On the day I saw it, it took up one whole cement square and was in full bloom, 6 feet by 5 feet. It's a single-petal beauty, a very bright true red. I wondered if it would be hardy on this side of the mountain, but after many years, it has proved its worth. It is very winter hardy at my elevation of 6,500 feet. It blooms all summer and is lovely against a fence. The Nearly Wild Rose is a rose I've had in a container for years. I have moved it around endlessly, and it thrives in a little bit of sun and a little bit of shade. It's 2 feet tall, very tough, surviving winters outside in front of our white stucco house without winter protection. Unlike the woodsy and the yellow roses, it blooms all summer and into the fall. The Sweet Fragrance rose is not considered a good container rose, as it is a full-size shrub rose, but this has not been my experience. This is the 6th season for these roses in containers. They do require special care to get them through the winter. They are placed in a greenhouse cold frame covered in white opaque plastic. This keeps them out of the wind, but still gives them the cold temperatures they need without being too cold. There's a rose for every garden, whether it be in the ground or in a container.